Hey everybody, it's Eddie J on crypto for growmybag.tv. I hope you're having a good one. So there's actually a lot going on tonight. Right now, the CFTC is bringing a case against KuCoin, right? KuCoin. And basically they're saying, hey, look, listen, we believe that you've, not paid attention to anti-money laundering laws. And within that case, they're also stating that Ethereum and Litecoin are both commodities. I've been telling you guys for a minute that what's really going on is, hey, Pest. So what's really going on is the CFTC is saying, look, these are commodities within our realm. We manage that. The SEC, on the other hand, is saying, no, we say Ethereum is a security. Here are the additional problems to that. 48 members of the United States government wrote a letter to Gary Gensler saying, hey, you have this project called Prometheum, not a project, but a special broker dealer that they're saying, jumped in and jumped through all the hoops to become a broker dealer. First quarter of this year, they were supposed to start managing assets for customers, custodial services, including Ethereum. So, hey, Corey. So everybody's wondering, and the letter states, hey, so if Ethereum is a security by your words, how is this new broker dealer allowed to work with it? How does that work? And they're demanding the SEC step up, specifically Gary Gensler. Tell us how that works. And I'm sitting there and I'm just going, wow, that's freaking funny. Because, think about this. If Gary Gensler, he's stuck between a rock and a hard place. Well, I'd say two rocks and a hard place, right? Because you've got the CFTC on one side saying, what are you doing? And then you have, politicians saying, what are you doing? Then you have Prometheum stuck in between it all, having to pull back their announcement that, hey, we're going to start doing this quarter. Now it's probably going to come next quarter. But let's talk about the two hard places. Obviously, first is CFTC. That's going to be a lot of infighting. I think that what Gary Gensler did in saying that Ethereum is a security was never thought about. He didn't think it out. Even his internal staff were caught off guard. Crypto mom, Hester Pierce, was kind of like, huh? Like, what are you doing? Then you have Prometheum, who's like this star child, right? This star project. They came in and they jumped through all the hoops to become a special broker dealer. Now, with this broker dealer nonsense, are you saying that it's easy to jump through all the hoops? That everybody could have jumped through all the hoops? Is that what you're saying? Because Prometheum doesn't have the kind of money that Coinbase has. Excuse me. And I'm sure Coinbase has asked all of those questions. Hey, Mona, all of the questions. Hey, how do we do this? How do we do that? You've had several exchanges, established exchanges. Ask the SEC, what do we have to do? Tell us what we have to do. We'll get it done. And the SEC hasn't done jack except promote Prometheum as, see, they can do it. If they can do it, anybody can do it. I don't understand how. So if the SEC says, oh, well, Prometheum can't do this. Oh, so that means that everything that you said a broker dealer has to do, an exchange has to do, is all BS, right? Or you stick with it and Ethereum's not a security. Which is it, buddy? Which is it? So I don't think he's thought this through. I don't think they thought this through at all. And I think that the CFTC is going to have a lot to say because they're bringing a multi-billion dollar, I think it's like 1 point something billion dollar case against KuCoin, who allegedly could have possibly been lax in their AML, their AML efforts, anti-money laundering, which means that, did they know their customer, KYC, know your customer? I don't know. I just found it kind of easy to open up a KuCoin account. Haven't used it, but I think I still have one. So that's a question that I have. How does Gary Gensler and his cronies at the SEC, not everybody, just his cronies, not everybody there, just his cronies, how do they wriggle themselves out of this very, very tight spot? There is no way to go down the middle. You have to pick one. And either one that you pick, you lose credibility. Either direction that the SEC goes in, they lose credibility. Not to mention that if they do anything, to discourage broker dealers from jumping through all the hoops to become legal, then your whole thing was BS. The whole thing. And that in and of itself is a problem. I need to close some applications. There you go. Let me see if that saves my CPU. Yeah, right? Right, Mona? It was easy to set up. Not a lot of hoops to jump through. Not a lot at all. Pest says, when I first opened my KuCoin account, there was no KYC. Now there is. Yeah. That's how they started flowing with their game. And I'm trying to understand, how does that work? They knew that what was going on at the present time was not going to float for long. Hence changes came about. That's just the way it is. And I'm cool with that. You wanted to attack the market. That's fine. But now they might be paying, they might be having big problems. Daniel Delgado, good evening to all. Just wanted to say thanks for your input. Danny from Naples, Florida. What's up from Naples, Florida? How are you? One of my team members actually lives down in Naples, so I know it's beautiful down there. But yeah, I'm having a problem with understanding that all, right? Now, something else that I'm picking up on is, I'm just looking at my notes. ARK Invest dropped some shares of Coinbase again. I think they dropped like another 21 million, right? And over the weeks, they've been doing this, and she's dropping, Kathy Wood is dropping, Coinbase, not in a major fashion, but she's pulling profit. I believe she's pulling profit, and she's going to put that profit to work. She's not stupid. She's very smart. So I'm paying attention to that. You want to know something else about Coinbase? Coinbase's level of Bitcoin is at a 9-year low. I keep telling you guys, and ladies, sorry, I don't want Mona to get mad at me, that what's going on is you have people buying Bitcoin and they're not going to give it up. They're not going to give it up. No time soon, if ever. Michael Saylor is not kicking up his Bitcoin. He will leverage, he will use his Bitcoin to get more money, but he's like, I'm not selling Bitcoin ever. So his 1+% holdings of Bitcoin, yeah, that's not going anywhere. And he must be doing something right, because MicroStrategy just hit an all-time high today. I think it was like $1,826, all-time high. He must know what he's doing. He has an idea. Just saying. But I'm looking at all this and I'm just saying to myself, if Coinbase's holdings of Bitcoin is at that kind of a low, people are extracting and handling their own services. They're handling their own custodial services, right? It also means that they're not poised to sell. Now let that wash over you for a minute, because like I said, right now we have 900 Bitcoin per day being mined, right? After the halving event, we're only going to have 450 being mined. Mind you, there's only 21 million worth of Bitcoin. And here's something else to keep in mind. There's quite a bit of Bitcoin out there that has been unofficially burned. And what I mean by unofficially burned is that people lost their keys. People lost their wallets. And there's a significant amount of that. Remember when Bitcoin was brand new and you could buy like 50 bazillion Bitcoin? Yeah, well, a lot of those people can't get back. Well, not a lot, but a good number of those people can't find their wallets. So that's something to think about. Scarcity is a very big deal. You could actually say that it's more than a big deal. And people should be paying attention to what's happening and what's not happening. So if Bitcoin's a great store of value and nobody's selling Bitcoin, where else should I be looking? Pest says 3 to 4 million people about. Well, not people, but Bitcoin about. That's just unofficially burned. Unofficially burned. Something else to keep in mind, and people forget about this. Every time you hear about the United States government confiscating digital assets, it's theirs. Cortez, my man, how are you, buddy? So you have to kind of pay attention to how things are moving and how things are being used. And those are some of the things that I'm contemplating right now is how is Ethereum going to move forward? And again, the conversation isn't just about Ethereum. Gary Gensler really stepped in it. And that means that you're talking about everything about Ethereum, everything that's based on Ethereum, everything that is similar to Ethereum. They all have problems if Gary Gensler goes in that direction. Well, I don't know that they would have problems. I think Gary Gensler would have problems. So you have that huge macro event, and then you have these other macro events that affect that. And then I start looking at other coins. Remember, earlier I started talking about, not earlier just now, but earlier today, I was talking about, meme coins. Even last night, I was talking about meme coins. And when I think about meme coins, I think about, how much they're being used, how many real transactions are happening. You're playing games, you're buying things at stores that accept whatever digital asset you're using, real transactions, not just purchasing. Good evening, Genster 23. That's my birthday, the 23rd. So I'm really kind of trying to get a handle on what's being used and what's not. Last night I got into Avalanche, Solana. A lot of these projects are buying into the memes that are based on their blockchain. Okay, that's cool. That sounds really nice, but you're buying that for what reason? Think about it. You're going to have to sell to take your profit. You're going to have to do something. So I'm just looking at that and I'm just saying, yeah, okay. And the reason why I say this tonight is because Shiba Inu is the second most popular, and this isn't the first time, second most popular coin in Europe. Because it gets used, not just invested in, but used. Right? That's a big deal. So I'm really trying to develop some kind of process where I can start to see, well, here's the beginning of altcoin season, right? That's kind of where we are right now, kind of. So great, here's the beginning of altcoin season. When does that bubble pop? Because to me, that's a bubble. Artificially inflated by companies spending big money to rake in all of those coins. When does that bubble pop? Because when that bubble pops, until that bubble pops, I can keep playing the ups and downs. Yesterday, Dog with Hat was up 22. Today, earlier when I first reported this morning, was up another 12. Those are the things I'm playing with. Those are the things I'm paying attention to, rather. I haven't bought anything yet. I kind of leave it to my son if he's going to, play around with that. He'll let me know. Should I look into that? Because a person that's actually better than I am at research, I'm good. I'm really good at doing research. My son blows me away. He is one of the most thorough researchers I know, and about anything. Want a new car? This kid can find the best car. the best car for your price range. Quality, price, longevity, maintenance, all of it. He considers all of it. So when he comes to me about a coin, I don't have to think about it. I do not have to think about the choice that he's made because I know the level of research that he does. That's the kind of trust I have. And vice versa. If I tell him about Solana or Ethereum or whatever coin I happen to be looking at, he knows that I can take a deep dive and tell him, why do I like that coin? How is that coin being used? Are other coins based on it? Just those kinds of things. Those are the things that I'm really trying to pay attention to. So when I look at everything, and I'm trying not to keep you guys too long tonight. So if you have questions, let me know. Don't be afraid to drop me a couple of thanks. Because there's a button you can actually drop me thanks. But I'm thinking about how all this works. One other story caught my attention as well. And that was WorldCoin. WorldCoin got kicked in the shins again. I forgot what country it was, but there's another country that said, no, not in this country. You will not be allowed to collect biometric data. So if so many people are going against WorldCoin in this collection of biometric data, I believe that stems from a fear of, what are you going to do with my data? It's a coin. First of all, what are you doing with the coin? What does the coin do? Right? And then what are you doing with my biometric data? Remember who leads WorldCoin, same guy that leads OpenAI. Do I trust that guy to not play around with my data? No, not at all. Not at all. It's the same thing as, who was it? Ford is filing. I think it's Ford. It's either Ford or GM. And I mentioned it earlier. It's either Ford or GM that's filing for patents to have your car shut down various services depending on how long you're delinquent on your bill. And I brought up the point of, well, what happens if you're not delinquent? What happens if their system on their side messes up? Imagine hacking into a computer system, and it's getting somewhere. Imagine hacking into a computer system and making everybody's car return back to the nearest dealership and then locking down the car. You'd be able to do that if you hack their system, anybody's system, right? You'd be able to take certain control. And this is a hypothetical, so don't get me wrong. What catches that? To me, what catches that is I can use blockchain technology to track everything. I can use crypto to pay. It would be instant. You just have to have a system that can ingest all the data that, hey, I paid just now. Everything's fine and dandy. I look for things that solve problems. When I trade, I have a different hat on versus when I'm holding for long-term benefit. Trading is quick, right? Scalping, day trading, whatever. Quick actions. Holding, I consider holding similar to purchasing a stock because it pays out dividends. The stock price doesn't fluctuate much. Think realty income. If you look them up, their ticker symbol is O. Their stock price doesn't fluctuate that much. But you know what they have done? They've paid out hundreds in consecutive hundreds of consecutive payouts of dividends. So when I think of holding, that's kind of where I'm thinking. What dividend bearing stocks can I purchase? Because I'm just going to hold on to those. I'm not going to get rid of those. I might even decide to leverage that portfolio to get money to live off of, like a Jeff Bezos. That's the idea that I was giving you guys the other night. So those are the things I pay attention to when I'm looking at the various cryptos. I can't believe nobody has any questions. That's insane. That's nuts. I haven't seen that in a long time. But that's pretty much where I am right now, right? Coins that actually do something. Chainlink, Polygon's doing stuff, although they're not in the news much. They're letting everybody else do all the fanfare and everything else. Great, not a problem. I told you the Achilles heel for Solana. A network outage could do it. A network outage could do it. It is what it is. Anyway, this is Eddie J on crypto for growmybag.tv. I hope you really like what I'm doing. If you do, drop me a note, say thanks, all that good stuff. Love to hear it. If I can improve, can we talk DeFi smart contracts? Specifically, what do you want to know? What are you trying to get at when you want to talk? Because Cortez is asking a question. Pest, the best projects seem to be quiet. You know what? Yeah. A lot of the really good projects are really, really quiet right now because they're busy building out infrastructure, supporting infrastructure, creating, more efficiencies with their infrastructure. Cortez, I'm still waiting for you. What about DeFi smart contracts are you interested in? Because I'm kind of at a loss with that one. Are you thinking like getting into DeFi from a staking perspective or staking and leveraging? I would never do that. What are you thinking about? And one of the things that I also think about with regard to DeFi is what platform am I on when I'm doing DeFi, and has that platform suffered any kind of problem? Let's say, have they been hacked? Did they lose anything? If they have, how quickly did they respond? And if they did, and was it their digital assets that got hit, or were there customer assets that were hit? And if they were customer related assets, did they make those customers whole? So those are things that I think about. With regard to the technology, that would have to be another conversation because I'd have to dig into that a bit. So I'm not quite sure. A trading class. Mona, I'm going to kick you in the butt. Mona has been on me. Mona and I met online via, I had a TikTok channel, came after YouTube. I was, doing everything simultaneously. And that's when I met Mona. And Mona's been on me to hold classes and everything else. Right now, the only class that we're going to be offering very soon is a foundational class. Because like I said before, a lot of people are out there trading, out there doing stuff with digital assets, and actually have no foundation whatsoever when it comes to that. And so we're going to be teaching that. So Cortez said, required in an agreement or contract, they are stored on the blockchain and run when predetermined conditions are met. Yeah, that's how smart contracts work. Smart contracts are built on blockchain technology, which makes them secure. No, kind of makes them secure. You know what I mean? It makes them transparent. But secure depends on the platform that you're on. Depends on the smart contract that you built. For example, Polygon, their ZK EVM smart contract had a problem. And so it went down for 12 hours and then they fixed it. Now it's back up. So that's what we're thinking about right there. Yeah, transparent and immutable. That's right. Once you've kicked into a smart contract, that's it. You're off to the races. Thank you for that, Cortez. But I thought you were talking about from a transactional perspective. But yeah, that's the underlying technology behind it. But that's why I said I want you to pay attention to, where am I mucking around with DeFi? Have they been hit? How were they hit? Who was affected with that hit? Eric Hallman, I spent a couple of hours learning about NFTs. I'm still trying to figure this out. Do you have classes on that on GMB? Ugh. Did Mona call you? Did she call you or something? Did she text you? Did she email you, Semaphore or something? I don't have a class on that just yet. I'm starting off with one class, a foundational class first, to see how that goes. Then I'll be looking at different classes for different things as people like you keep asking me, hey, what about a class on this? What about a class on this? What about a class on this? And also I kind of want to understand to what level of NFT, what level uses of you're looking at for NFTs, because in the foundational class, we do touch on NFTs, and we don't just touch on it. We start talking about the usefulness, how they came about, what makes them non-fungible, blah, 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 blah. So we do get into that a little bit. I don't know, Eric, you came in right after she asked for another class, so I don't know. But yeah, I think the idea right now is let's get a handle on level setting everybody, right? She's being funny now. You're cute. Stop laughing. It's not funny anymore. It is. But let's level set, right? Again, most people don't really have a good solid foundation on what crypto is, which is why you see so many fluctuations in the Bitcoin, the spot Bitcoin ETF space, because they panic and they pull out. And then they think it's going to start doing well again, so they put back in, and they just keep going back and forth and up and down because they're not educated on what it actually is. Again, I wouldn't expect Cortez, Mona, I wouldn't expect any of you guys who actually handle your own custodian, you actually self-custody, to be thinking about some ETF. Because why am I going to pay some company to manage my assets, whether it be fiat, digital assets, stocks, options, bonds, whatever? I'm not going to pay them to do that if I know how to do it. Now, if I have a huge sum of money and I want to have somebody manage that money, that's an all-around decision. And I'll tell you something, the hardest job, because I know a lot of wealthy people, the hardest job that a wealthy person has is managing their money. It really, truly is. Like, everybody sits back and they kind of go, well, how did this person lose all their money? How did this person lose all their money? It's they didn't understand how money worked. And because they didn't understand how money works, somebody was able to take advantage of that and take their money. So from a foundational perspective, the first class is let's lay out the foundation. And let's give that class on a regular basis, because not everybody is going to come to the class at the same time, and I'm probably only going to keep it to about 100 people per class, depending on what's going on at that moment. Then let's start to really take deep dives into things like NFTs, DeFi, other areas that people have an idea about. Take a deeper dive like Cortez did. Hey, let's take a deeper dive into smart contracts and how that works. Nobody that's taking a foundational class is going to truly understand smart contracts. They'll have a scratch the surface kind of knowledge about it, and that'll be it. Right? And that's if I'm lucky, they walk into the class. Most people I'm expecting, they're going to walk into the class and they're not going to have any kind of idea. None. And so that's why you take the foundations, and then we can start getting into NFTs. But I'll start working on those classes now, right? So that we have it. Great. We are excited for any, I don't know why it does that, but it blocks the messages. It's so freaking annoying. But yeah, thank you for that, Mona. Any class I offer. Well, so here, that's the other part, is I'm thinking about calling up other people that might be more expert in certain areas to also teach classes. Of course, they'll be compensated, all that kind of stuff. Because the classes can't be free. We actually have to get paid, right? Because it takes time to put together the classes. And here's something else that's different about our classes than most other classes. You actually take an exam after it. Like our foundation class is 2 hours. 2 hours for that foundation class, and you get a 20 question exam after that. I'm only keeping it to 20 questions because when nurses have to re-up for their licensing and certifications, they take a 1 hour class and it's a 10 question thing. Now I can have a row of 100 people. I have so many questions. I can have a row of 100 people all taking the test at the same time, and none of them will have the same questions. I've got over 1,100 questions. I think it's actually more than that for that exam. Some of them true, false, some of them multiple choice. Because I really want you to walk out of that class knowing what you've been taught. And when you take the class, you're going to get a book. You're actually going to get my book. It's all a part of the class. All of it. So if you guys have suggestions or anything else like that, even price point for the class, like I said, it's a 2 hour class, all about crypto foundations, talking about a whole bunch of stuff. I will be sharing an outline of the class very soon. It's just that we have a couple of things that we're finishing that I didn't want to put out there just yet, but we're like a hair away. We're like testing everything right now. So we're really, really close. Any other questions for tonight before I close out? I'm just trying to see if I missed anybody. No, that was hello. Eric, so did I answer your question properly if you're still here? And Cortez, do you have any questions or suggestions? You're really good with that. Pest, how about you? Are you good? And Jenster, where are you from? Like, I'm just curious, like United States, because we actually get a lot of people from all around the world. So I'm always interested to find out where everybody is. But anyway, you know what? I should close it out. We've been on here for a minute. It's been 30 minutes already. I hope everybody's well. If you need anything, drop me a note. Do me a favor, sign up. Join the communication. I know a lot of people have signed up on the website. A lot of people are starting to sign up on YouTube. It greatly helps me out because there a lot of work goes into all of this stuff. If you've seen my videos before, you know that I do all the research. I write everything up. I drop the art, everything. I do the videos. I do the editing, all that. It's all me. My team, on the other hand, builds out the social media platform. They're making sure that the videos get copied properly over to the platform and all that other good stuff. But yeah, it takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of work, a lot of effort. Anyway, this is Eddie J on crypto for growmybag.tv. I really hope you enjoyed yourself because I know I did. Have a good one, everybody. Bye-bye.